sensitive issue because the men and women on the borders are sticking their life out every day. We bow down to them for their services to the country. All of us are well and doing what we have to do only because you are doing what you have to do, otherwise we wouldn't be able to do what we're doing. Death is a constant companion for everybody. I'm not trying to belittle this, but a soldier is more conscious of this than anybody else. Most other people believe generally that other people die. They never think they die. But a soldier knows he or she can die any moment. So that awareness makes the job very different from almost anything else that we can do. We must understand this, that in this country, one of the greatest teachings that have happened in this country, I'm not an expert on this, but one of the greatest teachings but is hugely recognized in India and across the planet by many, many learned people is the Gita. You must understand, Krishna chose to give the teaching in the battlefield. He could have done it. 12, 13 years they were in the jungle, peaceful jungles. He could have given the teaching there, they could have set up an ashram and given a teaching, but he chose battlefield because a human being never realizes the nature of who or she is unless mortality is hanging in their face. The reason why I'm constantly talking about death, I refer to people's death, but then it becomes very oppressive if I keep on talking about their death, so I keep talking about my death. To a point where recently somebody asked, is Sadhguru healthy? Is something wrong with his health? Nothing wrong with my health. But you may be healthy, but you still die. You may be young, you may still die. You may be fit, but you still die. Only when you're conscious of your mortality, exploring the nature of my existence becomes a natural aspiration. What is beyond this body? I'm not trying to belittle the situation of the Jawans and the officers who work on the borders, facing extreme situations and danger and death in real time, not as a concept, real time. I'm not trying to in any way belittle that, but I'm saying this is also a tremendous place where one to turn inward, because it is natural for a human being, when you are conscious of death, you want to know what is beyond this body. And that longing is called spiritual process. It doesn't matter what is your gender, caste, creed, religion, everybody must have one little spot within themselves which is beyond their body, which is beyond their mind. If this comes into their experience, when the time comes, either in natural ways or in unnatural ways, when time comes to shed this body, you will do this very gracefully. For every human being, I'm not just saying for a soldier, for every human being it will come. You don't know when it will come. But if you had an experience beyond this body, beyond this mind, your ability to handle this aspect of life would be incredibly better than the way it is right now. Unfortunately, still we live in a world where armies are a must. You cannot live in this world without security forces. We've still not come to that level of consciousness where the entire world can embrace each other and live. That is not a reality, that'll be a joke right now. So we need this, and we are putting our own men and women to risk to see that the rest of the nation lives well. And This is one thing we have to do in the country. Every citizen who lives in this country must be made to understand that today we go to our office and come back, today our children go to school and come back, today we are doing whatever we wish to do in this country only because certain number of men and women are standing guard and taking care of this. Otherwise, you must look back at medieval times when raiders came and raped and looted and did what they did in the past. And the same will happen even today. World has not changed in that sense. The same will happen today probably in worse forms than before because they're better equipped than ever before. So, it is very important in this country, every citizen understands that we owe this to the soldiers, we owe this to the defense forces, we owe this to variety of security forces who are providing this to us. But I think in the making of our nation, we have forgotten to instill this in every citizen's minds and hearts. We still it is funny that this is still from the British era, this is the hangover. Even today, an average citizen, when he sees a policeman, he fears. He doesn't feel comfortable. If police are there, you must feel safe. But instead, most citizens in India, if police are there, they're afraid. What will they do to me? Because this comes from the British era. If you see the khaki uniform, they're going to beat you, they're going to arrest you, they're going to do something to you. Still that mentality is there in the country, which from both ends we have to work to change this, and a new level of pride has to be built in for the sacrifices that are being done. It is beginning to happen, but it must happen much more rapidly. It must be built into our youth especially.